Let's wrap it up. Thursday Night Football tonight. Los Angeles Rams at the San Francisco 49ers. Niners favored by 3. They're 6-7. Rams 7-6. They played earlier in the season.
They did.
Rams saved their season against the Niners. Remember this one-sided matchup where Kyle Shanahan always seems to beat Sean McVay, except in the NFC Championship in 2021. Well, the Rams pulled it off earlier this year with the win, and that was, one of those games when you look back, how do these teams get here? This is one of those games I reference where the Niners missed a field goal and blew a 10-plus point lead, and the Rams saved their season to be here, sitting here at in second place, heading into this Thursday night matchup.
Yeah, I can never remember which way round the rock, paper, scissors works in that division.
This one I remember because the only time McVay won for a while was the NFC Championship. Last year, McVay won again, but it was the Carson Wentz versus Sam Darnold matchup. Remember, Week 18? That's like you throw it out. It's like a snow game. Throw it out. But this year, earlier, the actual Stafford-Purdy matchup, and the Rams won.
So with a win, the Rams would get to the coin flip, 49% of the chance of making the playoffs if they win the game. If they lose, only 23% of the time. The 49ers are now in such a hole.
This is interesting that it's this low.
Yeah, that even if they win this game and get to 500, 7-7, with a win against the Rams, they would still only be at 11% because so many other losses are within the division.
The tiebreakers are just killing them.
Yeah, they need to win all of the division games remaining to have any shot at all.
Niners are going to be the team you don't want to play late in the regular season, but probably won't make the playoffs.
Right.
Because they're capable. We just got this report out. Drake Greenlaw is going to practice now.
Coming off that Achilles injury. Yeah.
Add that to the Chiefs' loss.
Really,
the guy tore his Achilles running out to the field to play defense against the Chiefs.
Oh, such a weird play. That I never cease to be the young kids, right? When you're young, it never even occurs to you that can happen to your body. That one day something is just going to go snap.
Something can snap when you move.
Right. Exactly. And then the older you get, the more acutely aware you are that every possible movement you make can snap something.
Move.
Right.
That's why I sit at my desk all day.
Are we
going to work out and risk injury?
Like if that sort of sunk into your consciousness when you were playing sports, younger in life, you'd be paralyzed by fear. I can't do anything because the body could just snap.
Yeah.
It's horrible.
Very scary.
The guy's a professional athlete, now has firsthand experience. So if he could just run out to play a game and his Achilles just goes ding, now you're out for a year. Horrible. Anyway.
What else you got on this game?
Well, the Chicago game last week was, you were saying, look, the 49ers are still capable. If it wasn't for that Bears game last week, I don't know if we'd be saying that. Like, that was the first indication that they are, in fact, still capable of having that kind of game for a long time.
Yeah, it was. It's interesting because I think Purdy's still good. I think if you're thinking long-term here and you're trying to figure out what his contract looks like and what the Niners are going to do, these situations where there's more pressure on him and him elevating, an injured squad is important here.
With the 49ers, it's always their injured players, who's playing, who's not. And because it's the 49ers, Nick Bosa could be banked this week or he could be out for the next 7.5 years. There's really no way of knowing. Could be hit by a bus. Who knows? So I don't know.
We have no idea who could show up.
But it makes
tonight.
a big impact if they have Nick Bosa out there, that's a difference maker against this Rams offense. So when it's in the groove, Stafford, feeling it, Cooper Kupp, Puka Nacua, they need a Nick Bosa out there to try and disrupt that.
And then can you bottle up last week's Stafford? My 10-year eternal question. Can you bottle up great Stafford and bring him every single week? I mean, maybe not to that level. No quarterback plays at that type of elite level. But, man, when they're on.
Last week was ridiculous. But even, they've had a few games, right, where they've just been in this zone.
Yeah.
Where it's like if they have all those guys in the field, Stafford, Kupp, Nacua, Kyren Williams, they can go on that kind of run where they just shred defense.
And I know part of it's the health on the offensive line. But the offense is all mostly back and healthy for the first time over the last couple of weeks here. And that is a factor. And then you get that young defense with what Jared Verse and Kobe Turner can do. Playing pretty well. Cameron Kitchen's making a lot of plays on the back end at safety. But again, it's all like
my guy,
hit or miss for the Rams every single week. But man, I think that offense can carry them. I think we could see a lot of points. FanDuel agrees over-unders 49.5 here for tonight's game.
Yeah. I mean, I do think that the Rams offense will have some success. Again, with the caveat, if they get Bosa back, maybe that could change that dynamic because he is, a singularly dominant player on that defensive line. He's up there with Myles Garrett, with Micah Parsons, with the best players in the NFL rushing the passer. He could change that dynamic by himself.
And I would say last week they didn't have him, right?
Yeah.
Last week when they didn't have him, they had the 7 sacks. And
right.
so you might say, well, they don't need him. But that was
Caleb Williams.
Go back to our Caleb Williams analysis. They only pressured him 9 times.
Yeah.
And some of it was quick wins by the defensive line. They did have, Malik Collins had a really nice sack in there. Like they had nice wins. But a lot of those were Caleb Williams holding the ball.
Yeah.
I don't know
if you can call that play a coverage sack where all of the Bears players were within this table square footage, but it was that, not necessarily the pass rush.
The whole point is the connectedness to it.
Yes.
Whether it's not like a 4-second coverage sack, but if you literally don't even have an option to throw the ball,
right,
you're going to probably get sacked. You're going to have to scramble.
Yeah. It's the same thing. It just becomes a misnomer when you're like, that's a coverage sack. It's like, well, yeah.
And that's why we've always emphasized the same thing that Brandon Thorne emphasized yesterday, which I encourage people to go listen to, the O-line breakdown, defensive line breakdown. We encourage, isolating quick wins and domination up front from defensive linemen.
Right.
And the more often you do that, the more likely over time you're going to get sacks, but you're just going to disrupt plays.
Yeah. So Bosa's the guy that can do that.
I worry about the Niners being able to do that without a Bosa, despite a 7-sack game last week.
Correct.
The point.
So him being there or not, I think is a big variable in this game. And then the other thing is, that was the first time we had seen the Shanahan offense actually play like the Shanahan offense for a long time against what we've just described as a kind of declining force in the Chicago Bears defense. Can they do that again for a second week? Can they actually show up and have their good players fire and just move the ball and look good? Again, are they down to a 4th-string running back now? Garendo's got a foot injury.
Garendo might play tonight. They said he's trying to play.
Yeah.
The other aspect, and we do this we're very guilty of this all the time. The Rams won last week, 44-42.
Right.
Their defense was just as bad
as
the Bills' defense. But because they won, it's like, oh, look at we just focused on the offense. They got to play, but they were giving up a ton of big plays because Allen had the 6 touchdowns.
Yes.
There was a screen pass in there. There's a little dump off to Khalil Shakir where he's running through the defense. Like, they got to tackle better and not give up those explosives.
Yeah, the one difference, I think, is that a lot of that was based off Josh Allen being freaky. Like, it was slightly different. Like, Buffalo couldn't stop anything, right? They were giving up. I mean, there were plays where Puka Nacua was freaky, the sideline toe tap catch, etc. But there was also, like, they just couldn't stop anything. Whereas the Rams defense, I think, there were plays where they gave up, normal stuff. But generally the thing that was getting them was Josh Allen being absurd. The 49ers don't have that to deploy. Like, they have very good players, but it's not like you have to deal with this, like, utter freak show every play. It's Brock Purdy. It's slightly easier than that.
One of the best scramblers in the
I agree with your general premise that the Rams defense is a problem potentially, and the 49ers could have the kind of repeat performance from a week ago. But I think it's slightly different than, it's an easier assignment for them going up against the 49ers offense than it is going up against Josh Allen when he's in the zone the way he was last week.
Bulletin board material for Brock Purdy.
Yeah, I'm sure.
All right, man. Let's pick some games. Pick the game. Rams by 3, Thursday Night Football here.
Can I have a wit out on this? I'm going to go with the Rams, but I think I might flip that if Bosa is playing, which of course we won't know until kickoff.
I'm going to take the Niners. I'm surprised it is this.
I'm also kind of scared by Garendo not playing as well potentially. I mean, and again, because it's the 49ers, he might play tonight or he might never play again.
Who knows?
Can't guarantee anything.
Could be career ending. I'm going to take the Niners, and Harry's going to take the Rams. So at least we're differing here on some stuff. You had a chance to make a comeback. I need to go.
Well, you got to break the tie with the child, yeah.
Yeah, I do. So big one for Harry and I tonight.
Thanks for watching all the way to the end of our video.
For more great content, click here to subscribe and here to watch another video. We'll see you again soon.